Hey guys, it's Deborah. I've been kind of avoiding doing this video, and those numbers on the screen you may not want to see, because that might mean what you think it means, which is I'm going to talk about possible rapture tribulation beginning in 2021. And there's a reason I'm doing this. I, of all people, do not want to say that we're waiting more time, but I really have no choice but to talk about this. A while back, the Lord was talking to me about this, and I just keep putting it off and putting it off, because I think, well, maybe I'm wrong, or maybe I heard wrong. And I don't want anybody to be like, no, everything's happening in 2020. And you've talked about 2020 before. Like, I've talked about 2020 because every year that passes, I kind of see possibilities. And 2020 means 2020 vision, seeing clearly, and things like that. And look, I'll just tell you what happened to me and how this all went down. And then I'll just leave it at that. You just take it to the Lord. All I know is He's blown me away so many times with things recently about this number and this possibility. And I guess I'll say this. I've never, ever, ever been told by the Lord, like, any sort of timing, really. Like, He's shown me, like, He's told me for sure it's near, and that, like, that's why He told me to write that book. If you guys don't follow my channel, I wrote a book. It's in the description box. It's To Leave Behind. This is not a promotion. Well, I guess it is, but not like in that way. I have to tell people about it because that's the thing that He told me to do. And it's also to encourage people about His character and like who are here now, so that hopefully they won't get left behind, that they'll believe. So, but then if you leave it in your house, it could also encourage those who are left behind. So, yeah. I haven't been given any sort of specific timeline. I've seen a lot of things, and I know last year there was all that hype around July 17th because a lot of people were seeing the number 717. They were given a lot of things about it. I still see that number all the time, and I still know there's something to do. The 7th month is actually September in the Jewish calendar. So a lot of people were thinking of the Gregorian calendar, July, but who knows? September 17th could be the second coming. Like, I have no idea. I know He's pointed things out like that, but I've never heard years. Like, I've just been shown, like, He's just shown me so that it's so close. And then also I know there's like people He's talked to me about, like different people. Like, so I know timing and like the red heifer, and I know timing as in like how it can't go past a certain time period. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about with 2021 a little bit. But I've never felt like He's talked to me about a year, like, ever. And I know no one knows the day or hour or whatever, but the point is, well, it doesn't say year. So it says we'll know the season. So all I know is I have never had that feeling before, and now I have. So I'm going to talk to you about that now. So I'm not exactly sure where to start, but I'll start with this. This is a picture of twins. These are not my twins, but I have twins. And it feels like when the Lord started pointing out 2021 to me, He started saying the 11th hour. Like, most things He does is at the last minute. When you think there is no way it's going to happen, a lot of times that's when the thing happens. Whatever you're looking for, the breakthrough or whatever, the 11th hour, like you're the last minute before you think it could happen. And He brought my attention to my birth story with my twins. Won't take long talking about this, but when He was talking about 2021, this relates to the fig tree prophecy. And sorry if I'm not going into basics for anyone who's just like learning, but any questions you can put in the comment section. We could talk there. But basically, most of you guys know that with the fig tree prophecy, kind of the latest, time period we can stretch this to is 2021 if there's a 7-year tribulation, because Israel is going to be 80. So it says, Psalms 10, it says like a generation, this generation shall not pass. So the generation would be the fig tree generation, 1948 to 80 years from that would be 2028. So you know that you have only a certain amount of time. And if you give a 7-year tribulation, then it has to be 2021 at the latest. Basically, that's what you're looking at. So And some people had said to me, well, 2021, it doesn't work because May 14th, they turn whatever. Now, I don't know if it has to be exactly like they turn 73. So it'd have to be before May. Like, I don't know if it has to be exactly. I do know that the harvest season is, I'm going to pop a picture on the screen actually. Yeah, the harvest season, as you see here, April, May, is wheat and barley for Israel. And so it could still work before May 14th in 2021, that you're still in that time zone. Now, again, I think there's wiggle room here too, because who knows if our calendars are all perfectly right. And also, there's that whole verse that says, if the days had not been shortened, no flesh would survive. So we don't know, like, is it going to be exactly 7 years? Like, that part, sorry for saying like so much. That part is a little messy. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, guys, because he's talking to us, and this feels so huge to say. Like, it feels so weighted and huge, but so amazing. I don't even know. I was literally like screaming when he started talking to me about this today, because I've been putting this off. I've been putting this off, and now I'm sure what he's saying to me. But anyway, let's go back to the baby story, and then we'll get into more proof and stuff. Okay, so the birth story, when I was asking the Lord, like I've asked him many times, about this 2021 thing, and he confirmed in many ways. Like, I had a dream. I'm not even gonna get into the dream, but the point is, every time I asked him, it was pretty clear. Whereas I ask other things, he doesn't always tell me, and he's never said anything like this to me before. So okay, now about the birthing story. And I think I might have told this before, I don't know, but with my twins, when I had them, the doctor wanted to do a C-section. She was like all for it. And like nowadays, everybody wants to just C-section people for twins. They don't even care if the babies need to have it done or not. They just do it. I know that there's money to be made in it, but then I also think it's probably because they're scared of malpractice or like something went wrong or whatever. So anyway, she kept on promoting it. So she booked a date for the C-section. And the date was October 19th. So that date, yeah, October 19th. So before that, months before that, I was in a small group at a church, and I was asking them to pray all the time that I wouldn't have the C-section, because I had other kids and they were all little. And then I was going to have these twins and little kids and have not even be able to walk and get up and stuff. I was so afraid, and I was just begging, please, Lord, do not let them cut me, because I've never had a C-section before that. And I was thinking, I won't be able to take care of the other little kids, and I'll have all these little kids and new babies, and it was just crazy. So anyway, I was praying and asking people to pray that I wouldn't have the C-section. So rolls around October 18th. So my C-section was scheduled October 19th, but October 18th, I was taking a shower and I felt pain, and I've been in labor before, so I knew like what this was. And I was like, oh my gosh, no way. And I was just the Lord. I'm like, no way, you're kidding me. One day before the C-section, you're going to bring it on. So then literally the pain got so bad immediately. I just had to run to the hospital and literally give birth to twin babies. They tried to actually force the C-section, even though I was about to have the babies. I had, from start to finish, it was like 3 hours, and they came out in 7 minutes each, 7 minutes apart. So it was literally like there's no time. So they were begging to do the C-section. Even still, I was literally having them, and they were still begging me to do it. And so, the Lord did not allow it, and they came out naturally, which is actually better. I mean, if you have to have it, you have to have it. I was just, one, taking care of all these kids, but two, there is some benefit to natural birth, like for the babies and their immune system and all this different stuff. But if you have to have it, I get it totally. It's just the situation. I didn't see why. One wasn't fully turned, but it was totally fine. Like they didn't even check closer to the end, and so it was months ahead. The baby hadn't even turned, one of the twins. The point is, they both turned and they were totally fine. They came out 7 minutes apart, and the whole thing was like in an instant. So the point being is, the Lord brought my mind. He said, remember your birthing story. And I was thinking, because when I asked him about 2021, and he said, did I not bring it to the 11th hour? Wasn't it one day before your C-section date because you had prayed to me. He reminded me, you had prayed to me and prayed to me not to have it. And literally It was the day before. The day before. And he just, I mean, for that to just come to my mind, I was just asking him and it just popped in my mind, my birthing story. So that's something I wanted to touch on, just to say these are confirmations I got that he just told me. No, it's like the 11th hour. Like, don't I always do that? And you guys know, that's how it is. Now, I'm not trying to say that's not all my proof or something, but every time I was asking, I was getting all of these things coming to my head that just came so fast when I'd ask a question. And they're so random. I would be like, Lord, is it really 2021? And then he'd be like, remember your birthing story? Remember the 11th hour? That's the last moment. Remember, like, because the other thing too is he wishes none to perish. He wishes none to perish, and he's not slack as men consider slackness. So he doesn't, it's not that he's taking too long. There's reasons or whatever. So again, this whole date setting thing, all I know is I asked about 2021 and this is all the stuff I heard. So I'll just tell you. So let's go to the next point. Okay, so now I want to talk about the Psalms. And a lot of people are talking about the Psalms and how they were they're prophetic in nature, from Psalms 1 being the beginning of the 1900s. There's a book called Prophecy in the Psalms. I think it's J.R. Church. I can't remember if that's the name. I think it is. But anyway, a lot of people are talking about this right now, how in the Psalms it's actually predicting year by year what's actually happening. I'm not even going to get into all that, but I do see that. I do see it. Like it goes from Psalm 1 would be the 1900s, and there's a reason why you count from the 1900s. And then basically Psalm 120, as you see here, would be 2020. So they also start the Psalm of Songs of Ascents, which has something to do with walking up the steps to the temple, 15 Psalms. I'll just say Psalm 120 is where we'd be at right now if we're going to do that. And I just want to talk to you about that because I had been following that, like looking into it, and then I'd been praying about it, and this is when I came to all this 2021 stuff. So I was reading it, and it just wasn't fitting for me until it really did click with, well, let me just read it. So Psalm 120, it says, "In my distress I cried unto the Lord, and he heard me. Deliver my soul, O Lord, from lying lips and from deceitful tongues. What shall be given unto thee, or what shall be done unto thee, thou false tongue, sharp arrows of the mighty with coals of juniper? Woe is me that I sojourn in Meshech, that I dwell in the tents of Kedar. My soul hath long dwelt with him that hateth peace." So yeah. So if this is Israel talking, they're like, I had to deal with people who hate peace. I'm for peace, but when I speak, they're for war. So lying lips, right now, we're in the midst of so much deception from every which way. So this really, yet again, fits. Does this sound like the rapture? Not to me. Okay, I couldn't see it. And I know I'm not putting down anybody who's talking about 2020. Like I'm not. All I know is I don't really care about like, I'm not trying to offend anybody or be best friends with anybody or either of those things. Like I'm just I just want the truth. That's all I care about. So if it's 2020, then that's better, so I'm just telling you what I did. This is what I did. I talked to the Lord and he started talking to me, and that's when he told me about that birth story, and that's when he told me about the 11th hour and how that's the last minute in the rapture bang zone. That's the last moment. And that's like a coined term now in, the YouTube Christian watching community, the bang zone. Anyway, but it is that's like, kind of the fig tree generation thing. And I've talked before, sorry to go on, but I've talked before about the 1988, 88 Reasons for 88. There was that book. And they thought, like, he was using the fig tree generation too. The guy thought the rapture was in 1988 because he said a generation is 40 years. We're using the 80 years. To me, it makes way more sense. People actually live 80 years. People don't live typically 40 years. They live much longer. And 120 years is another generation, but people don't live 120 years. So there's so many reasons why the fig tree generation is what I'm believing. But that is the time period, like 2021 is the end. Okay, but let's look at this again. It says lying tongues, false lips. That's what's happening right now. And then it says, my soul hath long dwelt in with him that hateth peace. Israel is like living with people who hates peace. They just want war. So, okay, this makes sense, okay? But this doesn't, to me, sound like the rapture of any sort. But let's move on. So the 121, now this would go with 2021. So I will lift up my eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. This is starting to sound rapture-y, okay? Because it's saying I'll lift up my eyes. People say, oh, this is just like, maybe we're just speaking about what the Jews are reading. It's for the Jews or whatever. I don't know. But the thing is, if we're looking at, is this related to, our rapture and stuff like that? It's for everyone. It's for like the Jews looking at it like they're for peace, but people are for war. We're all with the lying tongues. And this sounds rapture-y to me. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills from whence cometh my help. Because he even says, look up, for your redemptions draw nigh. Then my help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon the right hand. The sun shall not smite thee. Now it's going to talk about Israel because it's written to an audience, clearly. There was no Christianity at that point. But I still think there's something in it for us because throughout all the Psalms, there is basically things that happen, like different world events that have happened in different countries that have nothing to do with Israel that match up with the Psalms. So I think it's for everybody here. So anyway, behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither sleep nor slumber. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon the right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from evil, and he shall preserve thy soul. Now this sounds rapture-y to me. Listen, the Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Okay, when I read that, hello, it's saying from this time forth. If that's 2021, that's when I'm going to preserve you from this time forth and forevermore. I mean, if anything, I will lift up my eyes unto where my help comes from. That's, lift up your eyes for redemption draw nigh. And then the Lord shall, when would he ever say from this time forth and forevermore? Like, it just felt like he just said it to me. Look at, this is the time. And then forevermore, 2021, okay? Then we move into it. Let's say we're gone, and then this is the tribulation. I was glad when they said unto me, let's go into the house of the Lord. And so now this is like building the temple. Or it's this, I'm not going to read everything, but basically saying, it's talking about the temple. I'll go in the house of the Lord. Jerusalem is builded a city and blah, blah, blah. So remember, the first 3.5 years is about peace and stuff. So it says, peace be within thy walls and prosperity within thy palaces. And it's talking about the temple. So say, like 2022, the heifer is being burnt, which is perfect because it turned 2 in 2020 and 4 is the oldest it can be before, it has to be 4. 2, it could be 2 to 4 from what I understand to be burnt for the temple. So this works perfectly. Okay, let's go to 2020. This would be 2023. Unto thee I lift up my eyes, O that dwellest in heaven. Behold, as thy eyes of servants look unto the hands of the masters, and as the eyes of the maiden unto the hands of the mistress, so our eyes wait upon the Lord our God until he has mercy upon us. Have mercy on us, Lord. So it's not so bad. We're still okay. I'm not going to read it all. Everything's just okay. Then it says, if it had not been, okay, so this is now, we're in 2024. Okay, so this is now things would be getting bad because if we're halfway through kind of the tribulation, we're in the 3 to 3.5 years, right? And that's when the Antichrist comes into the temple. So it says, if it had not been for the Lord who was on our side, now may Israel say, if it had not been the Lord who was on our side, when men rose up against us, then they had swallowed us up quick, when their wrath was kindled against us. Then the waters have overwhelmed us. The stream has gone over our soul. Now, what does it say 3.5 years in? The Antichrist is going to send a flood and try to take out the people. I wish I had the verse, but remember it says he's going to send a flood and then they have to flee. Some people think to Petra, but they're going to flee to the wilderness because he sends a flood after them. It says, and this would be perfect timing. It's, 2024. Then the waters had overwhelmed us and the stream had gone over our soul. Then the proud waters had gone over our soul. Blessed be the Lord who hath not given us to prey to their teeth. Our soul is escaped as a bird out of the snare of the fowlers. Remember it says it will come upon them as a snare. The tribulation will come upon the world as a snare. That word snare is really important, okay? And it says, though, what does it say? That the Jews will escape, right? They will escape from this flood that he's going to send out on them. But it says, our soul is escaped as a bird out of the snare to the wilderness of the fowlers. The snare is broken and we are escaped. Remember, it says you will not escape those who are, I talked about in the tribulation, it says, when they say peace and safety, sudden destruction comes upon them and they will not escape. And it also says, pray you're accounted worthy to escape all that is coming upon the world. And now here, Israel is escaping. And we are escaped. So though some people will escape and some won't. And our help is in the name of the Lord who made heaven and earth. See, things aren't so jolly anymore. Let me say, come into the house of the Lord. Like, this all lines up, guys. Okay, so 2020, this would be 2025. And it really, to me, starts from 2021. It says, from this time forth and forevermore. Okay, they that trust in the Lord shall be, let me say one thing. It could be that it's like on the cusp of 2020 and 2021, like, I don't know, January, like, I don't know. I see it as a spring thing. I just showed you the harvest and stuff. So I don't know, maybe we're all right. You know how sometimes that works out like that. So it doesn't matter. I just wanted to share because I think it's, well, I know this is huge for me, what he showed me, all these things. And I'll keep showing you more. But okay, so this would be 2025. They that trust in the Lord shall be as Mount Zion, which cannot be removed, but abide forever. As the mountains are round about Jerusalem, so the Lord is round about his people from henceforth, even forever. For the rod of the wicked shall not rest upon. So there he's kind of keeping them safe. Let me move down to the last verse, verse 5. As for such a turn aside unto their crooked ways, the Lord shall lead them forth with their workers of iniquity, but peace shall be upon Israel. So it's kind of saying like he's protecting them. That's what I get. So they're in the wilderness. They'd still be in the wilderness here, 2026. When the Lord turned against the captivity of Zion, we were like them that dream. Then was our mouth filled with laughter and our tongue was singing. Then said they among the heathen, the Lord hath done great things for them. The Lord hath done great things for us, whereof we are glad. Turn again our captivity, O Lord, as the streams in the south. So, they're kind of captive, but they're saying he's going to help us again. They that sow in tears shall reap in joy. He that goeth forth in weeping. So they're like encouraging themselves in the Lord. So say they're in the wilderness, encouraging themselves in the Lord. He that goeth forth in weeping, bearing precious seeds shall doubtless come again with rejoicing, bringing his sheaves with them. Now, they're encouraging themselves in the Lord, saying he's going to come back bringing his sheaves with them. And if we are the wheat and the sheaves, like it's almost like they're saying he'll come back for us. He'll come back for us, bringing his sheaves with him. That would be us. And that's 2026. They're like encouraging themselves in the Lord if this is lining up. Okay. Now 2027, we're getting close to the end. Except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain. That built it, except the Lord keep the city, the watchman waketh in vain. So maybe they're saying the people in Jerusalem, like, you didn't build that house of the Lord, that was taken over, the Antichrist and his people, so it's in vain. It's in vain for you to rise up early, to sit up late, to eat the bread of sorrows, for he giveth his beloved sleep. Lo, children are a heritage of the Lord, and fruit of the womb is his reward. As arrows are in the hand of the mighty man, so the children of the youth. Maybe this is talking about their children, because they will have some. Happy is the man that he has this quiver full of them. They shall not be ashamed, but they shall speak with their enemies in the gate. So I have said before that I believe, I don't know if you guys remember, I talked about the generations, and that the one time the Lord showed me that like they all mean something. Like I told you, there's Generation X, Y, which is the millennials, I think, and then there's Generation Z, and he said that's the end. So like Generation Z is like the young, like the teenagers like right now, and young adults, and then there's like so Z is the end, the alphabet ends. That's the last generation. Like that's the end of, that's just it. And then Generation Alpha is like the babies right now, and they're the ones who are going to populate the tribulation, populate the millennial kingdom. So think about it. I'll just go off track here for a second, but think about this. And I've said this before, like about Generation Alpha. What does Alpha mean? The beginning. So that's the new beginning. So Generation Z, like these people are probably naming these things and not even knowing they're being led in some way, but I couldn't even have made this up if I tried. So Generation Z is the end, and Generation Alpha is the beginning. They're going to like be the beginning of a new like kingdom and like time period on earth. And so all these kids that are born in the tribulation, meaning like to people who I doubt Christians will be having, like once, we're gone and then there's tribulation saints, I doubt they're going to be having kids because they're going to know the truth of everything. So, and they're going to be persecuted. But non-Christians will probably still be, well, they will be procreating. We know they will. It does say, when they flee, the Israel women flee, pray you're not, nursing, or woe to them who are nursing in those days, or with child. So, people will still be procreating. People are always going to be doing that, no matter how bad it gets. So basically what's happening is those kids, though, are going to stay alive, like some Jewish kids, and the kids of the people who take the mark, like say, there's, all these people in that time taking the mark. Well, their kids aren't going to take the mark. I don't believe this. Well, no, they won't, because this is why. I was just talking to a sister about it. Basically here, God is not going to force a 2-year-old to take a mark when that dooms you to hell. The 2-year-old has no choice whether they want to take a mark or not. And they're not the kids of the Christians. They're the kids of those taking the mark. So say somebody has the mark and they have kids. It's to buy or sell. Kids don't buy or sell anyway. So when Jesus comes back, all those who take the mark will be like doomed. They'll be wiped out. But their kids won't be, because the kids had no choice. But the kids will start, as they grow up, they will be the ones, we will reign and rule over them for 1,000 years. And anyone who hasn't taken the mark, like all the Jews, will be reigning and ruling over everybody. But those kids are going to start, making families and dying and they're the ones who like living and dying and for 1,000 years have generations and generations. That's why the earth is not going to be very populated. It's going to be a very more empty place. I had a vision of millennial reign, and it's like more natural and empty. And because it takes a long time, because there's not going to be that much people left. But these alpha kids, alpha generation, are going to, and this is all talking about the arrows and these kids. They won't have taken the mark, but remember, they can get deceived when Satan is let out of the pit after the 1,000 years. So they'll still have a choice to serve God or not. Like, they're still going to have to make that choice as they grow up. But when they're little, they're not going to be forced to take the mark, because anyone who takes the mark is doomed to hell. God would never do that. He would never doom kids to hell, because they don't even have a choice. So all those kids are the alpha generation. Anyway, that's a side note, but here it talks about the arrows. I thought that was cool anyway. So now we're at 2028. This would be the end of the tribulation. Blessed is every one that feareth the Lord, that walketh in his ways, for thou shalt eat the labor of thine hands. Happy that shalt thou be, and it shall be with thee. Thy wife shall be as a fruitful vine by the sides of thine house, thy children like olive plants round the table. Behold, that thus shall the man be blessed that feareth the Lord. The Lord shall bless thee out of Zion, and thou shalt see the good of Jerusalem all the days of his life. Yea, thou shalt see thy children's children, and peace upon Israel. So now I don't know if at this moment it's over, because 2028 is kind of the end. So, but look, it's saying there's peace on Israel. Things are getting better. So either they're very hopeful because they know that the sheaves are coming back with the Lord, and they know the truth now, or this is really over now. So like 2029, it'd be like totally over. And so many times have they been afflicted me from my youth. May Israel now say, many times have they afflicted me from my youth, yet they have not prevailed against me. So now it's over. See, they're basically saying they didn't prevail. So let's go to the end. It says verse 8, neither do they which go by say, the blessing of the Lord be upon you. We bless you in the name of the Lord. Well, okay, I don't know what that. Okay, so basically, it's basically saying we're all good. Okay, so after this, it just goes on a bit more they're just happy. They're saying, we've been afflicted in the past, but we're good. But like if you go back here, Psalm 128, which would be 2028, it says, yea, thou shalt see thy children's children, and peace upon Israel. So I mean, it could line up. It really could. I told you in 2026, it's amazing how it talks about that flood. 2024, Psalm 124. And it literally matches up with that flood. And the Antichrist sends out after them. That'll be literally halfway through. Like, it just really lines up. So let me just end this part there and go back to something else. Okay, so back to more stuff about 2021. So another thing that happened to me, like these are all things that happened to me when I was trying to avoid talking about this. And then I'd get all these confirmations. If I ever asked about it, it's like he would just tell me right away. And it just makes me love him all the more. Like, he's like, I don't know, I just cannot wait to be in heaven or with him wherever we are, in heaven and then on earth and everywhere, because it's just awesome. I just loved how he really was like, whenever I asked him, he's like, yes, I do want you to say stuff, and I'm just going to keep giving you stuff to like let you know. I don't know. He was really adamant, I feel like, by showing me these things. Anyway, so like I said, I tried to avoid it. The next thing is when I was watching a video, and it was talking about how Jews say, like, okay, so when we talk about a year, like say we're saying like, oh yeah, it's 1956. Like, yeah, you'd be like, I was born in 56. Like, you might not say 19. So apparently, I don't know if this is true, but when they say, this year for them is 5780, they might just be like 80, like 80. 780. They wouldn't say the 5, or like, yeah. So anyway, so I thought I'd look up 781, because that's what I heard, that they wouldn't, like, it's like a short form. So when I asked the Lord, I'm like, can I have some confirmation? Do you really want me to share this? I'm going to look up 781 and let you show me, tell me what it is, because if it's something, then okay. So this is what I found. Like I said, this was kind of confirmation just for me to know, should I share it? Because I asked him, if I look up 781, not 5781, but just 781, are you going to show me something? So I'll just share it with you guys. But it basically says to betroth. It says, yeah, betrothed and engaged. So 781, when I had asked him, can I just have a confirmation? Like, should I really share this? Because I had heard, like, like I said, they don't say 5781. And so I just randomly asked, because I was just trying to avoid the topic, even though I'm fine with it. Like, if that's what it is, then that's what it is. But I just don't want people to be upset or whatever. So it meant to be engaged. And here it even says espouse. So like marry. So matrimony. So when I was like, oh Lord, just give me some sort of, sign. If it is that, I'm just going to look it up and then I'll know for sure you want me to. And he's saying, yeah, the year 781 means to get married. And even though these other years and there's been other numbers and they mean like really good things, because they're encouragement, I think, along the way. But all I know is this one time is the only time I ever heard him tell me that this is like the 11th hour, that 2021 is the last it can be. And he knows that's how he rolls. Okay. So anyway, it's to marry. So, and then 781, that was in the Hebrew. In the Greek, it means unwise and foolish. And I find that very interesting because it's like, so in Hebrew, it means to marry, but in Greek, it means the unwise and foolish. And it just made me think of the foolish virgins. So in one sense, yeah, he's going to marry someone. In the other sense, he's going to like leave someone. And it brings you to the verse, Ephesians 5:15. That's where that you find that word, unwise and foolish. And it says, see then that ye walk circumspectly. I should have tried to pronounce that word before. Not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time because the days are evil. Wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. And I feel like he was just telling me, like, look, that's just what it is. Those left behind, that's what I'm saying to you. And you guys all need to redeem the time because it's evil and it's about to be up in 2021. Anyway, so here's the last crazy thing, okay? The most craziest thing of all. I'm going to tell you that I felt like he was showing me because I was like, Lord, oh my gosh, Lord, I don't know. I don't know. I've been putting this off. And then I felt like he just made this so clear to me. This is it, guys. This is the big one. He made so clear to me. This is the parable of the vine dresser. Okay. And let me just find out where this is. Sorry. Yeah, it's in Luke 13. I'm just going to read it. It's in Luke 13 and it's verse 7. Is it verse 6. Okay. Luke 13, verse 6. It talks about it. And it's like he brought this to my mind and he said, look, girl, like this is it. Okay. And this is your last one I'm going to give you. Maybe it's not my last one, but this is the one. And then it spurred me on to make this video. Like I just screamed. Okay, so let me read it. It said, Luke 13, verse 6. He spake also this parable. A certain man had a fig tree, that's like Israel, planted in his vineyard. And he came and sought fruit thereon and found none. And before I go on, sorry, let me just say, I have been asking the Lord about this parable before, and it literally was clear as day to me now. Then said he unto the dresser of his vineyard, behold, these 3 years I come seeking fruit on this fig tree, and find none. Cut it down. Why cumbereth it to the ground? And he answering said unto them, Lord, let it alone this year. So 1 more year. Also till I shall dig about it and dung it. And if it bear fruit, well. And if not, then after that thou shalt cut it down. And I've asked the Lord, what's the 3 years and the 1 year? So when I'm sitting around just saying, Lord, like, I don't know about this. You've shown me so many things. You told me about my birth story. You told me, like you gave me a sign about the year 781. And, I keep asking you and you keep telling me like so clearly, like the Psalms, like it said from this day and forevermore, Psalm 128. So that would be 2028. Like you told me so clearly, like this is how it's going to be. And I know people are saying 2020 and I want it that way too, I guess. And that way, well, I want whatever you want, Lord, your will be done, but I know why people want to go. So the thing is, this was like his big finale. He said to me, and like, it was just so out of nowhere. And he said to me, the 3 years. And I've said this on a live stream I was just on that I felt recently, the Lord showed me 2017. 2017 was such a massive year. I wasn't even watching back then, but I kind of got woken up a little bit, like at that point. 2017, I said it was like the bridegroom call for the wise and the unwise virgins, like everybody was asleep. I know people have been watching much longer than that, but think about it. 2017 to 2020, that is 3 years. That is a really significant thing. I'm sorry, 2017 was significant. If I was watching back in 2017 and Lord didn't come, man, like I can't imagine. It was huge. There was signs in the sun, moon, and stars. Wasn't it like 5777? Like everything was like sevens and everything was crazy. It wasn't there that big eclipse in the United States over the Salems, and it was just big. It was huge, okay? But 2020 is huge too because it's the 3 years. 2017 to 2020. That's when he said look at the fig tree, it's not doing well. He said, then said unto the dresser of his vineyard, behold, these 3 years I come to seek fruit on the fig tree. 2017 to 2020. And then what did he say? He said, answering unto him, Lord, let it alone this one more year, this year. So another year. Also till I shall dig about it and dung it. And if it bear fruit, well, and if not, then after that thou shalt cut it down. And what's one more year? So 2017 to 2020 is the 3 years, and the one more year is 2021. Look, I'm telling you right now, I could not have made that up. Like, I could not have made that up. I could not have made that up. And I was praying in my head. It's not like I was out loud that the enemy could tell me this. Like, I mean, anything could happen. But I'm telling you right now, all this stuff was in my head and it was just so quick. And I would just pray and then it would just come. And I'm just saying, like, that parable that he's saying, it's the 3 years and one more year. I have never thought of that before. Like, I didn't know what it meant. And I kept asking the Lord, like, what's the 3 years and the one more year? I believe it is 2017 to 2020 is the 3 years. And the one more year is 2021. I'm just going to say, like, that was the grand finale, okay? I'm just telling you, with the Psalms, it all fits. Everything all fits. And I had this dream, and I never had a dream about a date before, like a time period, even during like lots of different like watch dates. And, you know, May 14th when Israel turned 70 and there's all these different watch dates. I always felt not great about it. I always felt like, I'm not sure. Like, this makes so much sense, but he never like told me. And this random thing that nobody's even looking at really, it's like he just made it so clear to me. And he made it so clear because like I said, the 11th hour, like he's just like going to push it to the very end. And so that's it. But like this vine dresser thing, that just like sealed the deal for me. I mean, honestly, he could come any day. It's totally his choice. And, you know, of course you have to be ready every day because you don't even know if you're going to, you know, live and wake up in the morning. So you can't not be, you know, believing in the Lord and everything. So it's that part, you have to always be ready. And really, anyone can really be wrong. I'm just telling you right now, the amount of confirmation he said about this, I don't even know what to say right now. I can tell you is there's no way I could have made this stuff up, especially this last one with the vine dressers. That was the 3 years, and the one more year is this year, like 2020 to 2021. This is the one more year, and we already know how it's going to go down. Will that fig tree bear fruit? No, okay? And it says, and if it not bear fruit, then after that thou shalt cut it down. So I don't know. Like, I just hope you guys really believe me. It's, again, like, I understand all the signs and all the reasons for 2020 and all the power to you. I'm just telling you, this is all stuff that I could not have dreamed up. And it is all stuff that every time I asked, it got an answer. It was just, yeah. And then this dream I had, it just all went together. And it's just, it is what it is. So I hope that doesn't discourage you guys. Like, it's 1 year anyway, but at the same time, like, I don't even know when. Like, it could be January 1st for all we know, but like that doesn't really line up with the spring stuff. I really like the calendar that I showed you. It really goes with the barley and wheat harvest, April, May. People have said like the harvest goes into, you know, this like so far in and everything. You know, I don't know. I just know this is all the stuff that I feel like I've shown in this whole 3 years, and then give it one more year. And so, and then the Psalms, it lines up. Like 2020 is about liars, and we're surrounded by liars, and they want war and they want peace. But 2021 is all about this day and forevermore. You know, you're going to be taken care of. So, and look up, lift your eyes up. And so that's where I'll leave it. There's some stuff with the Shoshani prophecy that I could talk about because that's kind of seems like it was gone, but I know because some people believe Pentecost hasn't really ended, and then there's like the high Sabbath, so could that still fit? And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, sorry. It's a prophecy that, a Jewish rabbi had that, you know, the Messiah would come during that time. So like there is still a possibility that 2020 and then, you know, everything happens end of July, you know, but then people might start pushing it to August. I don't know. But like all I can say is this. If it is this one more year thing, like give it one more year after the 3 years, like I said, if it is this, which I'm going to believe what I heard, what I feel the Lord showed me. I just have to believe it because he showed it me personally. But if it is that's it, then all I can say is like, do whatever you can to just get to work because you'll regret it. This is eternity. And so like, if you feel like whatever you need to do, tie up loose ends, talk to people and do whatever he told you to do or whatever, try your very best and to be as close in relationship. And I don't mean like do works. I mean like, you know, it says that there's rewards in heaven and stuff. So, and you don't want to regret how you spent this time. It said, don't store up treasures on earth, store up treasures in heaven where, you know, it won't be destroyed. So use this time to do that, because you won't regret it. You'll be like, thank goodness I did that. I don't know if we'll regret things or not. I have no idea, but I don't want to regret thinking I won't regret things. I don't know. So anyway, I'm just saying, trust me, if anyone has issues and needs to get out of here, I'm one of those people. So it's not like I'm trying to push things, but it's a year, or it's not even a year. It could be less. Like, it's not even like a full year. I don't even know what, it would be less than a year if that's the case. It just seems like it is the case. So all I can say is it's not meant to discourage. In fact, it's huge. And actually, what I was going to do a video on today was why heaven is not boring, because I heard a sermon on that today and I wanted to do that. And that was my whole thing. I was going to do this whole video on why heaven is not boring. And instead I had to do this. And, but I think I'll do that, because here's the thing is, like, guys, we got to stop taking our mind a bit off this evil world. Cause like, well, maybe that's just my job. Maybe some people have to focus on the evil world, and, you know, I have to encourage you guys. I won't judge. I'll just say, I'm going to just do that for you guys, because sometimes when I think about it, my mind is blown. The dreams I've had of how it's going to be in our bodies, and like how the earth is going to be different and ruling over it, and just picture this whole earth, and like, it's just, and then, but first we go to heaven and stuff. So like, all I can say is there's so much huge, amazing things, and yeah, it might take that time, but it's not that bad. And I just, guys, don't regret like how you treated this time, please. So that doesn't mean like do something crazy. I'm just saying, like, just be with him and ask him stuff, and try to do the best you can with what he's shown you, like who to talk to and share the gospel and stuff. So anyway, I rambled on long enough. Sorry, that was really long. I pray that you guys take this well, and that you hear me, like, I can't make this up. Like, oh my gosh, he said 3 years and then 1 more year, and that was that. I'm telling you right now. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So any questions, leave them down below, or comments. And again, I will try to get back to you soon with this whole heaven is not boring thing. So yeah, that's it. And I hope you have a blessed day or evening, and I'll talk to you again soon. God bless, and shalom.